This is Our Time, the main news at this hour. I'm Oleg Borisov in this video. Hello? One person was injured as a result of the attack on Kherson. Russia launched a massive strike using multiple rocket launcher systems. This was reported by Yaroslav Shinko, head of the Kherson City Military Administration. A 75-year-old woman was injured. She was hospitalized with blast trauma and an acute stress reaction. According to Shenko, the shelling affected residential neighborhoods and critical infrastructure. As a result of the attack, part of the city was left without electricity. The attacks on Odesa continue. There, a residential building and a lyceum were damaged. This was reported by the State Emergency Service of Ukraine. Rescuers evacuated 4 people and extinguished a fire covering an area of 150 square meters. There were no casualties. On-site, psychological assistance was needed for 17 people, including 4 children. And in the Kharkiv region, 14 civilians were injured due to shelling by the Russian army. This was reported by the head of the Kharkiv Regional Military Administration, Oleg Sinyogobov. According to him, the enemy actively used various types of drones and guided aerial bombs, CABs. The Russian army also attacked 2 districts in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Nikopol was hit with heavy artillery. Residential buildings, educational institutions, a farm, and a gas pipeline were damaged. This was reported by local authorities. There are no casualties or injuries. Over the past night, the Russian army launched 48 drones at Ukraine. According to preliminary data, air defense forces shot down or suppressed 30 UAVs. Hits were recorded at 9 locations. Meanwhile, Russia is camouflaging air defense systems and temporarily occupied Sevastopol. This was reported by the partisan movement Atesh. They conducted reconnaissance of the probable headquarters of the 30th, 31st Russian Air Defense Division in Crimea. Mock-ups of military equipment have been spotted on the premises, which, according to Atesh, indicates attempts to conceal the true purpose of the location. At the same time, there are signs of a command post operating, with periodic movement of military personnel and active communications equipment. The partisans also know that the S-300 and S-400 air defense missile launchers are located in a different area. It is from there that the systems are deployed for combat duty, rather than being stationed near the likely headquarters all the time. President Volodymyr Zelensky is on a visit to the United States. There, he will meet with the head of the White House, Donald Trump. The talks will take place in Palm Beach. That is where Trump's private residence is located. They'll discuss a peace agreement, security guarantees for Ukraine, and the country's reconstruction. A few days earlier, Zelensky revealed details of a 20-point peace plan that had been agreed upon with the Americans. And before his visit to Florida, Vladimir Zelensky held talks with world leaders. Among the participants were Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, French President Macron, Finnish leader Alexander Stubb, and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte was also present for the conversation, along with about 10 other leaders. During the discussion, they talked about the diplomatic path, priorities, and support for Ukraine. After the meeting with President Trump, the leaders will continue their talks. Zelensky emphasized that Ukraine needs strong positions both on the front lines and in diplomacy, so that Putin cannot manipulate or avoid a real and just end to the war.
In this war of Russia against Ukraine, we want peace, while Russia is showing its desire to continue the war. If the whole world, Europe, and America are on our side, together we will stop Putin. Because together we will all want the same thing: the end of the war, peace, a normal peace, a lasting peace, one that is safe for the entire world. If anyone in the US or Europe sides with Russia, it means the war will go on. There are no other options here, and this is a risk for all countries in the world, because Russia will not stop. No matter what agreements are made, no matter how eloquent their messages are, they will not stop at Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine, on Telegram.
The European Union will continue to put pressure on the Kremlin and support Ukraine. This was written on social network X by the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, following a conversation between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders. And in turn, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk stated that concrete and reliable security guarantees for Ukraine also mean greater security for Poland.
All participants in the conversation, joined as well by representatives from Scandinavia, Canada, the Netherlands, and NATO, agreed that concrete and reliable security guarantees for Ukraine are of key importance. Such guarantees also mean greater security for Poland. After the meetings between the presidents of the US and Ukraine, we will return to this discussion. Donald Tusk, Prime Minister of Poland, on social network X.
Poland is planning to build a new line of fortifications against drones. The defenses are being installed on the country's eastern borders. This was announced by the Polish Ministry of Defense. The line of fortifications will include various levels of defense, including machine guns, cannons, missiles, and drone jamming systems. The project will cost more than 2 billion euros. The funds will come from European funds under the Safe Defense Credit Program, as well as partially from Poland's state budget. The project is planned to be implemented within 2 years. The UK Ministry of Defence is launching a new program for people under 25. It will give them the opportunity to try out service in the Army, Navy, or Air Force without long-term commitments. The goal of the program is to address recruitment issues in the armed forces. Applications will start being accepted in the spring of 2026. At first, they will recruit 150 people, then increase the number to 1,000 per year. The program will be paid, but the salary amount has not yet been specified. Participants will not be involved in combat operations. The program is designed to last 2 years in the Army and 1 year in the Navy. For the Air Force, it is still being developed. The Ministry of Defense is confident that participants will gain valuable skills and be able to continue their careers in the UK Armed Forces.
This gap year program will give British youth the opportunity to get acquainted with the skills and training offered by the Army, the Royal Navy, and the Royal Air Force. This is part of our commitment to restore the connection between society and our armed forces, and to promote a whole-of-society approach to our country's defense. John Healey, UK Minister of Defense, in a BBC report.
A major traffic accident occurred in Japan due to icy roads. 2 trucks skidded on the icy road and collided. This triggered a chain reaction and a collision involving 56 vehicles. More than 10 cars caught fire. As a result of the accident, a 77-year-old woman died. Another 26 people were injured, 5 of them in critical condition. Reuters reports this. Part of the highway is closed and a long traffic jam is formed. Travelers are advised to use alternative routes, as it will take a long time to restore the road. A heavy snowfall hit the northeastern United States. Travel is difficult and thousands of flights have been canceled. A state of emergency has been declared in New York and New Jersey. In some areas, up to 25 centimeters of snow has fallen. Authorities are urging people to avoid traveling on dangerous roads. Thousands of passengers are stranded at airports, with more than 9,000 flights canceled or delayed. In Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Massachusetts, restrictions have been imposed on commercial transport due to bad weather. And in the Polish city of Elbląg, a state of emergency has been declared due to flooding. The water level in the Elbląg River has exceeded the critical mark of 590 centimeters, and further rise is expected. Flood barriers have been installed in the most vulnerable areas of the city. The mayor reported that emergency services are on full alert. Residents have been advised to stay away from the river due to the risk of flooding. Let me remind you, last fall, Poland experienced a major flood that resulted in casualties. Meanwhile, in Russia, there are disruptions in air travel due to the implementation of the cover plan. At Moscow's Vnukovo and Sheremetyevo airports, more than 270 flights have been delayed. According to the online board, 69 planes were diverted to alternate airfields, and 42 flights were canceled. This was reported by the airport's press service. The cover plan was implemented on December 27th after an attack by unidentified drones in the Moscow region. The airport stopped flights at 4 in the evening at Vnukovo and an hour later at Sheremetyevo. The restrictions remained in effect until midnight.
Subscribe to The Gaze and stay updated on the most important events, top news from Ukraine and all over the world, in-depth analysis, exclusive reports and interviews, all on hand in our channel. Join our community of viewers and stay tuned.